I presume you're here in order to learn of Magecraft. I'll have you know, there's no room for the weak-willed in this course, and despite your best efforts, the sorcery of our time is but a fraction of what it once was in the Age of Gods. Much of the craft is established through pedigree, and the culture of mages is riddled with deception and moral depravity. That said, if you insist, I shall do my best to educate you in this miserable, yet fascinating world. In our previous lesson, I spoke of the many mana ley lines that course through our planet. It is imperative for mages to know how to detect and take advantage of ley lines. One advantage to locating ley lines is being able to construct workshops atop or along them. That said, we have yet to fully dive into workshops and their applications. Thus, for today's lesson, we will cover mage workshops and explore a handful of noteworthy cases. Obviously, magical workshops, sometimes referred to as ateliers, are territories mages create to conduct their craft within. Similar to a bounded field, workshops serve to isolate a given space from the rest of the world and imbue it with various traits. The more unique a mage's craft, the more important it is to build a workshop that accommodates them. In many cases, certain rituals or spells are only possible within the bounds of a specific workshop. Like a magic crest, it can take a family years or even generations to properly construct and customize a workshop. Naturally, this encourages mages to settle into fixed locations rather than explore the world. I suppose it depends on the mage's ambition. Erecting a workshop nearby a mana ley line, or any fertile ground for that matter, will expand what can be done within. Altitude also plays a major role. Generally speaking, it is best to build a workshop either underground or as high up as possible. Underground workshops channel the Earth's power, while elevated workshops can invoke the heavens and its associated mystery. In Europe, it is a tradition to establish workshops in large wooded areas. The most important consideration is that a workshop's location dictates its properties. There is no one definitive, all-purpose location that exceeds all others. Each one has its own merits and downfalls. I suppose the closest we have to an ideal location would be right where the clock tower is located. As I stated before, the Association's headquarters was built right above the spiritual tomb of Albion. The tower itself has a number of great workshops used for educational purposes that benefit from being atop London's fertile land. However, the best of these workshops will be underground, particularly within the tomb itself. For instance, the uppermost layer of the tomb, the mining city Magecraft, has the composite workshop Kriegula. Technically, it is a network of workshops created by the Autopsy Division for the purpose of mass-producing magical relics. It is one of the few cases where multiple workshops work in tandem, handled by mages cooperating towards a common goal. This is a testament to how Magecraft is a city run by mages who don't have to fear their secrets leaking to the public. Serving as a refinery, its purpose is also rather specific. Beyond the clock tower, different lands are claimed and supervised by individual families. Those recognized by the association to govern these lands are known as second owners. It is a feudal distribution of land that exists within the shadows of common real estate, known only to mages. Second owners dictate which families can establish workshops on their land, as well as charge for that land's use. Such is the case for the Aozaki family, who claim ownership over Misaki Town. This region is protected by an especially powerful bounded field that must first be systematically disassembled before other mages can take it over. The second owners of Fuyuki City happen to be the Tosaka family. It goes without saying that this land is special, serving to host many Holy Grail wars. Our focus today is on the Tosaka Manor, a 2-story building with a basement beneath. The Tosakas use their home as a base of operations, as well as their primary workshop. Their actual spells are practiced in the basement, which is hidden from visitors and other wandering eyes. Tokiomi and his daughter Rin both utilized this space for a variety of means, from shaping jewels to summoning heroic spirits. With Rin being the family's living heir, she has since turned the basement into an at-home gym. Given that modern mages supplement their spells with martial arts, this isn't especially strange. Fuyuki being the site of the Grail Wars makes it desirable for other mage families, namely the three that first established the wars. The Makiri, or Mato family, have their own residence, complete with an underground workshop. This one is uniquely morbid, a deep, wide-open pit filled with Zokin's crestworms. These vile creatures breed down here, and Mato mages train themselves by allowing the worms to swarm them. The last of the three great families are the Einsburns. They hail from Germany, and rather than relocating entirely, they've resorted to building a second base in Fuyuki, meant exclusively for Grail Wars. To that extent, there are actually two Einsburn castles. Their German headquarters houses the family's golem leader Jubstahite. Located remotely in the frozen mountains, this castle is protected by harsh weather, spirits, bounded fields, and even feral wolves. The entire castle could be considered a workshop for manufacturing Einsburn homunculi. A uniquely dismal room of the castle is used to discard failures. It is a pool of corpses, a testament to the family's sorry state. The Einsburns also own a vast forest on the outskirts of Fuyuki, complete with another lavish castle. Its distance from the main city helps in its defense. On foot, it would take intruders 4 hours to reach the castle from the forest's edge. That forest is loaded with traps and barriers, and the forest itself is populated by wandering spirits. None of these pose a threat to the castle itself, which has its own defensive wall. While it's impervious to ordinary mages, all bets are off when heroic spirits come busting through. In fact, when the Einsburn castle is compromised by invading servants, Kiritsugu Emiya and Irisville seek a new base of operations for the remainder of the Fourth Holy Grail War. As a backup headquarters, they purchase a traditional Japanese mansion. This Emiya residence appears to be unsuitable for Magecraft. Quite frankly, it's too open, leaving little to no secrecy. Its only protection is a bounded field that notifies the owner of intruders. The estate's only workshop, then, is a humble storehouse out back that Irisville inscribed with a magic circle. Sequestered to the darkness, Shiro Emiya uses this space to practice his projection and reinforcement. Normally, a workshop would be filled with magical artifacts. This storehouse being filled with broken junk is actually perfect for Shiro's needs. Fuyuki's Ryudo Temple is another fertile land in the city, but that alone doesn't make it a workshop. When the caster servant Medea forms a contract with Soichiro Kuzuki, however, she repurposes the temple for her own use, a gathering point for the mana stolen from Fuyuki's residence. Like the Emiya estate, Ryudo Temple is fairly wide and easily accessible. To maximize its potential, then, Medea sealed it within a bounded field, restricting the flow of mana solely to the temple's gate. To protect that one opening, she summoned the false assassin Kojiro Sasaki. It's worth noting that she was only able to pull this off because she, as a caster-class servant, had inherited the territory creation skill. This gives the class more versatility when creating their own workshops. An exceptionally bold workshop used in Fuyuki comes from Kenneth L. Malloy Archibald during the Fourth War. Preferring to exploit a height advantage, Kenneth made use of the city's Hyatt Hotel, which towered over its surroundings. To make this public location fit for Magecraft, he decked out each of its many floors with traps and curses, meant to exclusively target mages and hide his activities. Ultimately, though, none of this mattered, as Kiritsugu Emiya demolished the entire building with explosives after evacuating its civilian guests and staff. While most workshops are built to protect against magical attacks, they can be just as vulnerable to modern weaponry. Let us now leave the territory of Fuyuki and focus on other workshops. After being denied her family's crest and heritage, Toko Aozaki moved to Mifune City and bought up a building hidden within the urban sprawl. Here, she established Garan no Do, or the Hollow Shrine, a consulting firm that specializes in supernatural occurrences. Within this workshop, Toko makes her iconic puppets and gathers a collection of mystic trinkets. It has a bounded field meant to disguise it as a legitimate business, as well as ward off unwanted visitors through hypnotic suggestion. Its location is practical, allowing Toko to remain close should any incidents in the city arise. She chose it to be isolated while still close to the action. Castle Adra, or the Castle of Separation, is a workshop in Western England built by the Ashbourne family. Unlike workshops built directly in the city, this castle is off the beaten path and has a unique structure. From above, its architecture resembles a magatama, or curled-up fetus. From the ground, it appears to have large, angelic wings. That theme of angels runs throughout, with all of its furniture and decorations invoking angelic imagery. Its rooms are all named after angels, structured in a coded fashion. By doing so, the family's head, Garyon Ashbourne, was able to channel the vast mystery associated with angels. He used this to lure in mages under the guise of repairing their magical crests. These victims would be harvested as materials, their blood seeping into the land, further enhancing its structure. For all its power, this workshop was unable to withstand the might of Gray's Rongo Minyad. Perhaps the most deliberately designed workshop can be found in England's Lake District. The twin towers of Iselma are just that, a pair of slanted towers that represent the sun and moon. They function as a sundial and moondial respectively. By regulating the activities of the tower's residents, the Iselma family could align their lives with the motion of the planets. They channeled all of this effort into the creation of the twin princesses of gold and silver, paragons of undeniable beauty. Based on the belief that beauty is a purifying force, the Iselmas hoped that by witnessing supreme beauty, their souls could ascend to a higher plane. The mage Trevor Pelham Codrington created the Marbury workshop on their ancestral land. His goal was to recreate an artificial wild hunt, an incarnation of storms seen in various mythologies. In Arthurian legend, the wild hunt describes an army of fairy knights who embody Britain's purgatorial spirits. Using that as a foundation, Trevor obtained a pair of fairy eyes from the Rail Zeppelin and implanted them into his own son, Will's. Trevor's workshop was built to amplify the power of these eyes and contact fairies. By striking a deal with them, Trevor would sacrifice human lives to create black dogs, a type of artificial fairy that conjures lightning. Way back during Japan's Edo period, Miyamoto Iori participated as a master during the waxing moon ritual. He lived in the slums of Asakusa, a secluded location ideal for building a magic workshop. Guided by the sentient grimoire Crimson Codex, Iori turned his humble abode into a spiritual base for the war. Beyond the shadow of a doubt, the most high-tech and expensive workshop ever made belongs to the Chaldea Security Organization. Its original headquarters was built in the heart of Antarctica, 6,000 meters above sea level. It also extends deep into the ground to capitalize on both the heavens and the earth simultaneously. The surrounding mountain range keeps Chaldea blanketed by a seemingly endless blizzard, which is further supplemented by a magnetic field generated by Chaldeus. This multi-purpose facility is used to observe human history, mass summon heroic spirits, ray-shift masters back in time, simulate foreign singularities, and experiment on designer children. Oftentimes, workshops are perceived by the common public as haunted houses, and even Chaldea has its fair share of spooky phenomena. For instance, it has a warehouse behind the control room called the Moonlight Lost Room. It happens to be the only room in the facility with a skylight, and while it used to be a break room, Chaldea's staff avoid it due to rumors that people disappear from it at midnight. Those brave enough to sleep here claim to have seen things they've lost or will eventually lose. Technicians suspect that this is caused by Chaldea's magnetic field altering space-time. Chaldea's more nefarious half is the Seraphix offshore oil rig. Located in the North Sea, this structure gathers resources from the ocean floor to supply Chaldea proper. Beyond that, its true purpose is to host experiments meant to be hidden from the clock tower's watchful eye. Beneath the main platform, at the ocean floor, lies a concealed workshop where research is conducted. Chaldea used this to develop its most valuable mystic code, Chaldeus. It was made by aligning human souls with the Earth's ley lines in such a way that the planet's soul could be replicated and observed. Suspiciously, these experiments made use of failed master candidates. Sealed within Klein coffins, these victims had their magic circuits embedded in the celestial body simulator, System Animosphere. Only a small portion of the oil rig staff knew what sort of cargo they were handling. The ethics behind this are debatable. From a utilitarian standpoint, the lives of 128 masters pales in comparison to the survival of all mankind. After all, Chaldea's main goal is to protect humanity by ray-shifting its masters to dangerous singularities. In one such case, an especially intelligent elder dragon uses its own language to construct golems, as well as a workshop called Vortax Dragon Bones. This feat is enough to impress King Gilgamesh, who came to the singularity with Ritsuka Fujimaru to hunt the Elder Dragon. Quite a number of workshops are utilized in Snowfield, Nevada for the true and false Grail Wars. One of the war's masters, Francesca Prelati, procured a colossal airship from the US military that soars about the lowest layer of the stratosphere. This aerial fortress elevates her workshop and is protected by many layered spells that render it invisible and resistant to wind. Orlando Reeve, Snowfield's police chief, makes use of the police station as his workshop in the wars. It is large enough to host not only himself, but the entire Clan Calatine, a group of 28 mage officers under his command. The Master Faldius Dioland converts his privately owned prison, the Colesman Special Corrections Center, into a workshop through which he hosts his surveillance of the city. Within, he studies diseases and magical curses. Basdelot Cordelian establishes his workshop in a large meat processing facility. It is surrounded by other factories that function as workshops for his allies. Collectively, Basdelot can transform these factories into an otherworldly labyrinth that disperses opponents and targets them with demonic beasts. The main facility has a machine that turns human sacrifices into mana-infused crystals. The mage Atram Galliasta originally built a device like this for use in the Fifth Grail War, but the Scladio family has significantly improved upon its design. The crystals it produces can be used to amplify existing spells. Within that same family is Galvaroso Scladio, an old man who isn't a mage himself, but uses his power and wealth to purchase the Magecraft tools he needs. His mansion, for example, was built by mages, fortified with traps, spirits, and a 35-layer bounded field. As such, it has no need for human guards, and can only be penetrated by the clock tower, wandering sea, or mages strong enough to reach the root. This goes to show that, even in the hands of a non-mage, Magecraft can be highly influential. In summation, magic workshops are established spaces that serve to protect and facilitate a mage's life work. As different mages have different needs, it only makes sense that these workshops will have different forms and locations. It can be quite risky to challenge a mage on their own territory, so mages are encouraged to stick to their own lands for protection. Much like their own lineage, a mage's domain is carefully built over time, and yet it can be demolished in a heartbeat with the right strategy or use of force. Even so, workshops are essential for research and complex spellcasting that can't be performed anywhere else. For our next lesson, I want to cover something a bit more obscure: pirates. This includes analyzing pirates who happen to be mages, as well as the common ground between mages and pirates. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all our anime lore, discussions, and Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or a YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like spicy exclusive vids and early access.
As always, celebrate your fandom. I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters: Video Gamer 75, Dante Pendragon, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, The Nonchalant Ostrich, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Free Brick, Olympian Doll, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Lunar Works, Link Pendrago, Observer Bellis, James Hewitt, Uncanny EXP, Zamas Autonomous, Yuki Eidos, Scout, Crow Kalem, Saul Soto, Tristan Riggin, Major, Mei Fumato, Caitlin P, Sogai CH, Vladimirovna, The Taz 96, Jonathan Padua, Kengo X77, Hersha of E-Rated Hands, Alistair Bernadotte, and Akakaze Yume. Thank you all so much.